and I can never see the comments. We've gone live. I can see we've gone live.
Put the comments down the side.
Yeah, I've got them. Yeah, I've got them there.
Yeah. Was that the Lord? Just a voice.
Yeah, where did that come from? I think we must be doing a paranormal show. You all right, mate? Good week?
Busy, mate. Busy. I felt a bit off this week. I don't know what.
Yeah,
I'm not doing anything different, but I just feel like I've really struggled this week.
Yeah, it's strange this week for some reason.
Yeah.
Really strange.
And I had quite a relaxing weekend, to be fair. So usually I'll put it down to overdoing it, but I had a weekend off. So I don't know why. And I had Monday off.
Wow.
It was my daughter's birthday, so I took the day off. And I've just really struggled to get back into it.
Right. So I suppose we'll ask a question. Anybody out there, can you please put in the comments?
Here we go, I found us.
Anybody out there? I hope you've had a good week, everybody out there, and just give us a little heads up that you can hear us.
Hi, Maz. Maz has commented. It's actually come up.
See that. Oh, yeah, got it. Yeah. Hi, Stuart. Hi, Maz.
No, I haven't got Stuart. You see different ones to me.
That's weird, isn't it? That's probably going to be a strange show then.
It's a good start for it, isn't it?
It's going that way, doesn't it?
Is my spec? I just had a different voice come through then.
No.
Christ's sake. It's you. I'm telling you, it's you. It's bad enough with Russ with things happening. You get on the show and it's double bubble.
I didn't hear. It's here now.
What's that?
Right.
Matter. Yeah.
Well, Paul heard you, but you weren't there. But
well, I heard someone.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Right. Let's have a drink. What's the time? I've only got a couple of minutes yet. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Just going to wait for our host broadcaster to load up. And then we can go. Give it a couple of minutes. Good. Difference in temperature today.
Oh, it's awful.
Well, it's freezing.
I think it does feel colder because we're used to it being warm for the last week or so.
It's crazy. I've just walked from through the garden. It's bloody... Ooh.
I put shorts on this morning. Great.
Oh, I bet you regretted that.
I did regret it, mate.
But then I'll turn up to you, was it Sunday, Russ, Saturday?
Yeah,
we had jeans on, didn't we? It was fucking roasting.
Big mistake that was, wasn't it? Big mistake. Right, I think we're going to go in a minute.
Do it.
Let's give it another minute and then we'll go, domino. Right, here we go. Are everyone ready? Locked in?
Ready.
Are we ready? Let's go.
As a duly designated representative of the city, I would cease any all supernatural activity and return forthwith to your place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension.
Whoa. Just hold up 1 minute there. It's not who you're going to call, but it's who you're going to listen to. And if you ain't afraid of no ghosts, stay tuned for the EGH Paranormal Talk Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, and welcome to the EGH Paranormal Talk Show live and exclusive Pulse Talk Radio. It's the 15th of May, 2025. You know, I think for the last couple of weeks I've been saying 2024. I bet people are thinking it might be an old show, but I can't remember. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say a big, massive thank you to the lovely Philip Solomon that has been taking us through Pulse Talk Radio for the last hour or so. I only sort of caught a bit of his show talking about reading colours and reading colour auras, so it was very interesting. But I never caught the beginning of the conversation, which, you know, I should go back to listen to, because it was very, very interesting. But no, we are here. Welcome everybody. And where would we be without our two wonderful co-hosts, Mr. Paranormal Paul and the wonderful Simon Hardy?
Oh yeah.
Good evening.
How are we both?
Yeah, good, mate. All good.
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Yeah, all good. Good week, busy week. We had a busy week last week.
I know. I was just saying to Si, I've struggled a bit this week. I don't know why. I've just felt a bit out of sorts. And I had a weekend off, and I had Monday off because it was my daughter's birthday.
That's just why.
Yeah, possibly.
Monday off throws everything out, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I've just really struggled to get into it this week.
Was it bank holiday Monday or not?
No.
Was it?
No, I took the days holiday. She wanted to go to, oh my God, Market, Cannon Market?
Camden Market.
Camden Market. So that's where we went. I've never been there before.
Is it good?
It was an experience. There's some weird and wonderful people up there, isn't there?
So I'm assuming you didn't really enjoy it, Paul. You just...
Do you know what I did? I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a good day. I like meeting new people and seeing the strangeness of the world. You know, it's lovely food, good atmosphere. Yeah. I enjoyed it, to be fair. I said, well, I'm quite happy to go back.
I had a good weekend. Went down to Kent and caravan with Garrett. And we went to Hive on the Saturday. And debating where to go on the Sunday. And I always thought Folkestone was a bit of a crappy place to go. But my God, I went to the pier and they've done it up. And it was bloody fantastic. What a fantastic day. And to see what they've done to the pier and all the restaurants on there. Crazy. Brilliant. And it's got a market there as well. A bit diverse. There was all different sort of stalls and not your normal market stalls. Really great days.
Really days.
Yeah.
You certainly have the weather for it.
Oh, yeah. Didn't find too much haunted, which is really, really unusual. Really unusual. Except for the shadow standing over me in the caravan, which, hey-ho. But I think that's something to do with this weekend, but we won't go there, but I think it is. Yeah, just woke up and the thing standing over me. And I thought, shit. But I didn't do anything. I just sort of woke up, said, right, get out of my space. Went to the toilet. Got back into bed. And then I thought about it in the morning. Thought, well, that was pretty brave.
Yeah. I think I've had a slightly different response.
Yeah,
you would have run.
Where?
Yeah,
I actually couldn't run anywhere. Yeah,
you would have found a place to run.
Yeah.
Let's just check in with everybody that is locked in and loaded tonight. We've got Marianne is in the chat. We've got Stuart in the chat. We've got Lee in the chat. We've got Heidi in the chat. People watching from all around the world. Monday was a lovely full moon. Congrats on your daughter's birthday, Paul, from Heidi. And Lee said, should have investigated the victims of the Camden Ripper. Reckon there's a few stories there.
Never heard of that.
No, neither have I.
No, never heard of the Camden Ripper. All right, cheers, Lee.
There you go.
What era, Lee? What sort of... decade, but what sort of time period are we looking at?
Can't help you on that one. I can't help you on that one. I've got things flashing up on one screen that's going a bit Pete Tong and another one, and I don't know what's quite going on. So
Don't
think
forget
you're
to plug your laptop in.
it's in. I can see the green button this week. Early 2000s.
Right. Okay.
So very modern then.
Very modern. Definitely have a look at it, mate.
Anthony Hardy was his name.
Oh. Okay.
It's a thing. Maybe we can make something of that. We can look into that. I think we'd have to tread a little bit careful because obviously being early 2000s,
Yeah,
there's
this could be still. Yeah, people.
living in that, but we can sort of touch on that. So this week, Paul reminding us just before we come live on air, it was Ghost Story Week. We was going to pick a ghost story and talk about it. Simon and Paul definitely did their homework. I didn't, so I'll go last and I can make it up as we come in the end of it. But let's start off with Simon. Because Simon says his one isn't going to take too long, but with us lot, I'm sure that isn't going to be the question. So go for it.
Yeah. It's a sort of debated case, and it happened about 20 years ago, as you know, on the A3 in Guildford. And what happened was people started to report a crash. So police went out there, and it wasn't just one person. This was a lot of people seeing a car swerve off the road and go down the ditch before the slip road or something like that. So, and I think it was 5 to 10 people reported it in. So the police went there, no crash cars. So I don't know if it was the same night. I think it was, but they walked on, and I think it was about 20 metres or 200 metres. Maybe, 20 metres further on, they went down the ditch, and there was a car that had been there for 5 months with skeletal remains in there. So the car had crashed, but it was 5 months previous. Now, obviously, the police ain't going to say it's paranormal activity, because what's going to happen? Everybody's going to be on that verge, like Bluebell Hill, places like that. They're going to be on that verge, parking their cars up and looking. So they sort of dismissed it. But that's really what it was. But it just attracted my attention that a lot of people had seen it, and I think from both sides of the road. And they all reported it before the slip road.
It only happened that one night, did it?
Yes. And obviously, I suppose it could be like, see, my reckoning on that was the spirit that crashed, that actually gone in that car, was trying to call out to let everybody know he was there. Yeah.
Or you could be going along the line of residual energy, though.
You could be, but it sort of hasn't. I don't think it's ever happened again. So it's just happened that once, by the sounds of it. Well, yeah.
Well, it's actually quite a real interesting story.
It is, and it's very quick.
We have to talk about it, because there is more to this. When we was talking about this just prior to going on air, I said to Simon, "What are you going to talk about?" And he said the A3 ghost crash, and I said, "This A3 ghost crash."
Yeah.
Which is even stranger. This was on my printer, and Simon is a good 15 miles away from me, maybe a push. Has no access to my printer. It is not on a network. My printer is not on a network. It's just linked to my own computer. So that was laying on my computer. So I sort of read it and didn't think anything about it, to be fair. But, do you want me just to read the story of it?
Yeah, because I'm only still going by sort of what I've read in my memory.
Right. It's just under 20 years since one of the oddest incidents ever recorded on the roads of Surrey took place. and to this day it remains unexplained. On the dark night of December 11th, 2002, Surrey police received a flood of calls from members of public that a car had lost control and left the A3 around 10 metres before the slip road at Guildford, Burtham. Police arrived at the scene to find no evidence of a newly car crash vehicle at the scene until they looked 20 metres further down the road. They discovered a wreckage of a maroon Vauxhall Astra, nose down in a ditch, completely hidden from the road and any other potential passers-by. But this vehicle was not the result of the recent incident. The officers were discovering the remains of the body, which had laid uncovered for a previous 5 months along the wreckage Astra. A media frenzy greeted the discovery, with some suggesting that the crash of all those people had rung the police was in fact a ghostly replay of the incident. Surrey police confirmed the body at the scene was a 21-year-old Christopher Brian Chandler, who was wanted for robbery and had been on the run from the Metropolitan Police since July 16 that year. Police rubbished any talk that was some sort of paranormal event, adding the incident was treated as a normal road collision, with the fact the car was obviously by the bush was meaning it was reported sooner. One person who remembers the day clearly was Steve Casey, who worked for Marco Recovery Services. Speaking to Surrey Live, 10 years on from the incident, he said it was an event he would never forget, as a scene to tow a car away and remains belonging to the scene. Nearly 2 decades of debate still rage on about people heard the noise, saw the crash, and why exactly the crash happened 5 months previous.
That's really weird.
So, did they actually see how the crash happened?
Yeah.
Was it a collision, or did he just veer off the road?
It sounds like they just witnessed veering off the road.
Yeah.
I won't be saying I've got to get tissue.
So I get the feeling that what they've seen is a reenactment of what happened.
Yeah.
Because spirit work in funny ways, don't they? If they want to get your attention, they're going to get your attention.
No, the only reason I asked that is because if there was another vehicle involved, and then obviously they carried on because there's only one vehicle there.
No,
but obviously not.
they just saw it. Apparently, it just veered off, literally veered off at speed and went down into the ditch. So then, obviously, they just started to report it on their phones and whatever. But no, really, really strange, isn't it?
So it has to be, as I say, it has to be a paranormal activity. It has to be for people to see it.
Yeah, it's got to be, yeah.
But is what the question I'd be asking is why, how? You know, I know you made a good comment there about that energy of that spirit crying out. I can see that. But then do we look at it the other way? That is it?
But he got peace, didn't he? But he would have got peace because he would have got a burial. No matter, I expect his family would have been missing him. All right, he was on the run, whatever he did, but he would have been laid to rest, wouldn't he? Properly by making himself known there. He would have got his burial, his funeral, and proper send off, if you like.
That one, Stuart, I can't answer. We haven't got that information. All we can say is that on the dark night of December 11th, 2002, Surrey police received floods of calls from the member of public that a car had lost control and left the A3.
Dark night as well. All you can see is the lights in it. Let's be honest, you can't tell really the model of the car, especially 20 years ago. They're all quite similar, weren't they?
But it does sort of take away the what's the word I'm looking for? The Hollywood ghostly feel. You know that you think like it takes away because people have described seeing a car come off the road. Now, I'm assuming they've all seen quite a normal car coming off the road. But if that was in a film, that would be translucent. Where you see a translucent car, don't you? It's very much, a fictitious feeling. But this almost feels real.
Yeah, it's just a shame that it sort of wasn't a summer's night, because you might have got the noise of it. I wonder if the noise was there, like Stuart said, could he describe the car? But would you have heard the noise of it? Because you usually hear a noise, don't you, if there's a crash, like a bang.
But I do think that was said.
Yeah, he heard and saw the crash.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
There was a person that said who heard. Completely done. Was a recent incident discovery. It was suggested the same people. Police scene was a robbery. Talking was the paranormal event incident. Treats normal road. So meaning one person of day clearly.
The police couldn't really publicise it as a paranormal incident, because what would I would imagine the media frenzy there the day after and the week after would have been horrendous anyway. If they said it was paranormal activity, you'd have the world and everybody setting up the cameras, wouldn't you? And it would have been.
Yeah, but would police say paranormal activity on any case?
No.
They would say that on any case. If you ask me, it's something that they just don't do. You look at Bluebell Hill is very much sort of that, very similar. Scotty T's White community.
Hey,
welcome. Long time no see, Scott. Long time no see, Scott Pollandine. I can always tell because he's got the cartoon face. So, welcome. But yeah,
a very weird story, and it just caught my imagination, because they do say roads are the most haunted places, don't they?
Yes,
they do say that the road network is very, very haunted.
Well, if the apparition's coming through as strong as that, anyway, you ain't never going to know if you see if it's real or not, are you? So even if it is haunted, you're just going to pass along or drive past thinking, oh, that was normal.
Yeah, but now that says, now we're, that just questions everything, though, doesn't it? Because how many times we have driven back from events and it's been quiet roads.
Yeah.
If you're seeing that car come off the road clearly, what could have we seen? We could have passed cars. I could have overtook cars that shouldn't have been there if we're looking at it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. But I'm sure I remember you saying, Russ, I think it was coming back from an event. You saw someone on the A130 in like a mask or something standing on the side of the road.
Yes, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So I've got a good memory.
That was through the fog. It was foggy, and it went green. Like the aura was green around it. Like, yeah, that was freaky. That was a white face. Like, it's all I can describe that. But it still stays in my head quite clearly. Was the film, the live action film of He-Man?
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren in it, Skeletor in that. It's a film.
Yeah.
That was that. So it looks like that, very dark, but it's green. It radiated green, like probably like our logo above Simon's head.
Yeah.
Probably that sort of green. So, loads of people commenting. Helios is in the chat tonight. Good evening, Helios. Been a while. Good to catch up. Rhodes' sudden death.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
I think it is. I think it's one of them things. And the more I think about it, you know, when I drove home and saw that light in Bickenacre.
Yeah.
See, that could have been something trying to get my attention. That could have been spirit.
Mm.
I never chose to stop. I just chose to put my foot down. As you do.
You would though, wouldn't you? That moment.
I did actually go back and stop to see if I could see somebody. I didn't.
But all these cases, we're talking about, you know, obviously one of the most famous art, you know, is Bluebell Hill.
Yeah.
You know, once again, we're going over that side of the water with Bluebell Hill. Quite regular, you know, road traffic accidents happen there.
But haven't they stopped that now? It's not such on a main drag now, is it?
No, it has been. It's still a drag, but they have obviously done loads of roadworks there and pulled it out. But that's a little bit different, I suppose, because obviously the original crash, or the original was caused by the woman driver, I believe, that is said to have caught her husband cheating or having an affair, and they argued, lost control, and she died, but I believe he lived. So the theory goes that if she steps out in front of you and causes you to swerve, or she's telling you that someone in the car is cheating or having an affair.
Oh, right.
The road, so she's saved, not saved, I don't mean saved,
but warns.
Yeah. That's the so-called link to that. There's still, yeah, there is, Carol. You're quite right. There is still accidents there on a regular basis at Bluebell Hill. Wow. It's not on the main drag anymore like it used to be, because obviously the big major roadworks. But yeah, it's very interesting, and I do feel that the, what do you call it, the road network, as you would call it, you think there's probably more deaths there for a lot of people than
and they're sudden. So as Carol said, they're sudden deaths, so that they've still got a story to tell, and they still want to get back, don't they?
Yeah, I just feel that.
So that's really, really good. I think it's really good, and to be honest, I wish I saw something like it.
Evening, Mickey. Welcome to the show. Happy birthday for the other day, Mickey.
Yeah, birthday, mate, for the other day.
But let's just, is it a cause of a want from the 21-year-old to be found? Is that a cause of a want, or could it be a intention of his family to be found? Because if he's been missing for 5 months, that would have now become, I know he's been wanted for robbery, but that would have become a missing persons case.
Yeah.
So that
my head goes towards the spirit of the dead there. Give me some peace here.
Yeah.
I know we would never be able to sort of, what's the word, prove it either way. No. But it would be, it would be nice to know what time this was reported and what time the actual accident happened. Obviously, we'd never know what time the accident happened because no one saw said incident. So I'm assuming it'd be early hours of the morning.
I think so, yeah. Perhaps there was nobody on the road at that time. I don't know, but
the A3 is quite a fast-running road anyway, isn't it? It's a major road.
Yes, it is.
So you're going to be looking at, it's got to be a quiet time. So I'd be probably saying sort of between that 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. time slot, 12 to 3 p.m., where the roads are pretty dead.
Yeah, but you don't forget, you're also going back sort of 20 years.
Yeah, you are.
So it is a bit quieter.
Yeah.
I would say.
But still, I don't think it would be at 11 o'clock at night. You know,
No.
you've still got lorries. It's never going to be during the day. Never
No.
done an A3.
No.
I would never say it was down the A3 during the day, but it'd just be more interesting to see who, you know, it could be if we could match that time to see, you know, because then if you could, you're never going to do it, but if you could, then you're in the realms of sort of like a residual energy sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, if it was happening on a regular basis, I would say residual. But seeing as it didn't happen, well, it's never been reported again that it's happened again. I would say that's one of the closest things to seeing spirit actually say, "Look, I'm here.
Yeah.
Find me, please. Look, I'm here."
No, I agree. I agree. And to be fair, I'm just probably, you know, playing devil's advocate more than anything. Strange that for all the calls, no one stopped to have a look. If they did, would they have not found the original car? Maybe it was the police calls that were the ghost element.
Maybe it was the phone calls that the ghost. Yeah, could be. That's a good slant on it. Yeah.
Now throw a needle in the haystack.
Cheers, Stuart. Yeah.
Well, that's not unheard of, is it?
No. I was going to say that.
They're not unheard of.
But we're saying that nobody did stop to have a look, but perhaps somebody did stop to have a look, and it wasn't there. Like the police, when they originally got there, that they couldn't find anything to where the car had been reported. So perhaps somebody did stop to have a look, down.
It's all it
The
says.
car carried on travelling once it was in a ditch.
Yeah.
You would assume someone would have pulled over.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
You would have.
But then they said that, didn't it say it was well hidden when they actually found it? So
yeah, but that would have been, you know, 5 months, depending on what time of year that is.
December, isn't it?
Yeah. So what was that? December, January, February, March, April, May.
No, you could go back. Yeah.
You're looking at strong growth from weeds. You know, everything comes into bloom. So, you know, you've got to take that into consideration. I'm just going to do a bit of Googling to see if there is more to the reports than just what we are seeing. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look to see if I've just got to make sure I'm not reading the same one. I think that looks like the same one. Let's have a look at this one. Icebreakers.
That's going to be an icebreaker, isn't it? How did this happen? And nobody could ever.
It's not uncommon for police to receive code, and this is exactly what happened. Chilly December, it appeared that the Surrey police received that a frenzy of calls around 7:20 p.m. on December about a car with blazing headlights swerving sharply off the road and careering down a verge around 100 meters before an emergency slip road.
So it sounds like they saw it crash on the other side of the road.
Coming across, yeah. Coming across.
Bloody hell.
And 7:20. See, that is a strange time of night, isn't it?
Yeah.
If that, you know, that to me takes the residual repetitiveness out of it.
Yeah. It's really weird.
That residual energy out of it, and it was going along them lines of someone trying to
Look,
get
I'm
their
here.
attention.
Yeah, look, I'm here. Yeah.
But then again, it still took the police 20 meters away. They could have just said, "Enough's enough."
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. There's nothing here.
Yeah, 20 meters is quite a way, isn't it? the end of the day.
60 to 70 foot in it.
Something like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So interesting one.
So that was my story.
Mm.
Right, Paul's got a different type of story, haven't you, Paul?
I have. Like I say, I didn't do my homework like I was supposed to. But I was thinking about it earlier. Excuse me. And I thought, why try and look for a story when I've pretty much got one of my own anyway? And like I said, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before on one of the earlier shows when EGH first come about. So if you have, I apologise. But it was basically when I was living at home, the house I was born and grew up in. I was had a split room with my brother. And obviously he was still there at the time. He had his girlfriend staying over. And like I say, I grew up in quite a weird house. A lot of paranormal activity would go on. I remember when I was a kid, I'd sleep under the cover with me and just little air pockets so I could breathe because you could hear things moving around the bedroom and things like that. I didn't like it. I was quite. I still do that now, yeah. But anyway, all sorts of things would go on. But this particular night, I'd say it was around about, it was either just before or just after midnight time. Everyone was asleep basically. And there was a massive crash. And my brother and his girlfriend just both screaming, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. My mum and dad come tearing into the bedroom. I've shot up, didn't know what the hell was going on. And they've opened the door to my brother's room, and as they've gone in, they're both sort of scared and shaking in the bed. What the hell's happened? Well, do you remember the old TV brackets you used to have on the wall?
Yeah.
It would mount the TV on, not like nowadays. Yeah. I'm talking the big TVs, you know, like the 14, 16-inch TVs with a big back, round aerial at the top. So I'm going back a few years. And, well, we both had one of them in our bedroom. They were up on the wall. And what had happened, this one had come off and landed on the bottom of the bed. And first thought, well, okay, well, obviously over time, maybe it's just worked its way off. But the raw plugs were still completely intact in the wall. I mean, this TV had been there for a couple of years, by the way. It wasn't sort of like recently put up. And it was almost, there was no signs that it had been slightly ripped out of the wall. It was almost as if it had been undone from the wall. Oh, this is like while investigating, but before we noticed that part of it, my brother's girlfriend sat up in bed and she had the round aerial around her neck.
Shit.
Now, we had to, it didn't just lift off. We had to prise it off with some force, my dad and my brother, and get it off her neck. And to this day, we still can't work out how the hell that happened. I mean, the cable itself, it's not one that used to be like part of the telly. It would just plug into the little aerial lead, you know. So it only had a little lead on it that just plugged straight into the back of the telly and then sit on the top. So how that happened, we cannot work out. But years later, and I don't know, as soon as someone, I think it was my mum, saw this on telly, and it always took me back to this night. I don't know why, but his girlfriend at the time, she ended up getting into quite a bad relationship where she was kept captive in a house and abused, sort of thing. And she ended up on Good Morning TV and she was telling her story. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it, like some kind of pre-warning, or I really don't know. But as soon as that was mentioned, that's where my head was.
Was the relationship an abusive relationship before the telly incident or after?
No, after. Well, years after. Years after.
Wow.
I'd say she, at the time that this happened, I'm trying to think how old. 17, 18, about that sort of age. Not me, them.
Yeah.
No, it might have even been younger. 16, 17, 18. I think I was about 15, 14. I can't remember the exact dates. No, I must have been about 14, 15. So, yeah, about 17, maybe 18.
Wow.
And this was years after that she got into this relationship. Yeah, I think she had
perhaps it was a warning, perhaps, yeah.
But I might have nothing to do with it, but it was one of the most, out of all the things that used to happen in my house, that one always sort of stuck with me. So when I sort of started thinking earlier about it, I thought, well, I might as well just tell that story because it's one of the vivid nights I remember of things going Pete Tong in my house, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's quite. My head, so your general senses of it was a warning, Paul. Looking back
Not
at
at
it
the time.
now.
Not at the time. I don't really know where my head was at the time. Apart
But
from
now,
a bit scared. Yeah, well, like I say, ever since, because obviously we hadn't seen her for years, haven't heard of her. You know what it's like with young relationships. You part ways and you don't ever see them again. And it's only the fact that we saw her on the TV. Well, I didn't personally, but I think your mum did. And she was in the newspaper as well. And it was like, blimey, what's her face?
Yeah.
And that's just where my head went. But straight away, I was like, wow, I wonder if.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But I cannot
It's
explain.
food for thought, isn't it?
Yeah, I just cannot explain how the hell that happened.
That seems quite, what would you call it? Is it malevolent? Quite. I think the elevate. I don't think that would be a warning. I really don't think that would be a warning. We're talking about a telly that would weigh some coming off a cabinet that was unscrewed, which virtually impossible.
Yeah.
With the aerial get round her neck. Was it one of them round ones, Paul?
So it goes round, doesn't it? And then it goes into a point, into that little box thing. And but it's actually fixed to that box thing. You try and
get
some leverage on that. I mean, I remember it. We was all. I think we all got out of bed and sort of sat in the front room with a cup of tea after it happened, just trying to make sense of everything, And I was in the bedroom right next door, and we didn't have. It used to be one bedroom. We had it partitioned off, and the door split in my bedroom to my brother's bedroom was one of them old concertina doors, And he used to work like early shifts, so like 4 o'clock in the morning, he'd come no, fucking hell, what the hell? But so yeah, I didn't really particularly want to just lie in bed looking in because I could see the wall where that telly was from my head position on the bed,
Yeah. So, but everything looking at it seems to me, dark. I can't. I can't fit a warning in that scenario.
Yeah.
We're talking about a telly that would have weighed some coming off the floor,
I know it bruised my brother's legs. I don't know about her legs. It landed crash on the bottom of their legs,
If it landed differently, it could have caused a fire.
Mm.
And we're talking about an aerial around a young lady's neck.
Yeah.
look, I can get the TV link, pre-warning that she'd be on TV, but I feel more the fact of that would be for me along like the poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
That's poltergeist.
Did you have any other poltergeist activity in the house, Paul?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
it was a house that
Nothing like that though. I think that was the. I mean, we've been sitting there watching telly in the front room before, and we had one in the old sort of like a cuckoo clock, but with the grandfather pendulum bit on it.
Yeah.
It'd been there for years, and I didn't think of that. Same thing again. It just slowly slid down the wall, and the backing hadn't come off of it, but the fixing was still in the wall, so it would have had to have been pulled off, and then it would have dropped, but it didn't. It just slowly slid down the wall and landed on the mantelpiece.
Wow.
So we're now looking at obviously something that was, quite sinister.
I think so. I do think so. Yeah.
Was it protecting your brother? Was there something that was more deeper than we know to do with that young lady? Is that? I don't quite know. The unexplained is one of the most amazing things in regards to the paranormal. Drives you nuts not knowing how, but it happened. Very much.
Yeah.
But
Scott, I can't agree with you more.
Did you have, like the clock sliding down the wall? Once again, doesn't sound violent.
No,
it just slid down.
No,
the wall.
Didn't. To be fair, that's the only time I think someone actually got hurt. I mean, I don't think she got hurt so much. I know my brother did because he bruised his legs.
Yeah,
but
it would have hurt. That would have hurt. If that hit your legs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only got underneath it.
Well, that's all big to tell you, but they weighed a lot, quite a bit.
They used to weigh a lot, back in the day.
Well, if you're thinking if that wasn't on a bed where the compression would have probably pushed his legs into the mattress, probably would have broke a leg or caused some sort of fracture. If it was on a hard surface where the leg would have to sort of dissipate into the mattress.
But the weird part about it is I'm pretty sure we just screwed the bracket back on the wall and put the telly back up. We didn't even re-drill the holes on it because everything was still there.
What about the screws? Were they in the?
No, the screws were on the floor.
So it looked like somebody's actually unscrewed it then.
Yeah, and it weren't like one screw holding it on. It was like I think it was about between 4 and 6 screws.
See, a lot of people do say that with poltergeist activity. They actually unscrew the devices and can unbolt things. You wouldn't think that they would, but they can.
So what would your take be on it, Si?
I think dark. I do think it's dark. Don't know. Again, something wanting to get your attention or your brother's attention. I would say for your brother, I don't actually think the girl's got anything to do with it. I think it was a warning to your brother.
What, against the girl? Sorry, sorry about the girl if she's ever watching, but we ain't mentioned no names. But she was the one that, to me, signifies a hanging. Can't help it.
It's strangulation. That comes to my mind. Somebody trying to strangle her. But,
because it would have been on that old, like, that aerial normally sort of connected to sort of like a plastic cord, didn't it? A flat plastic cord.
Like a coat hanger sort of material, wasn't it?
Not the actual metal part of the aerial, yeah. It went round like that and then come down into a little block that sat on top of the telly. And then there was a lead that come out of it and plugged into the back of the telly that obviously gave it the AV,
And you had to pull that apart to get over the head.
You force it, yeah, because where that little bit goes up and then comes round, that little bit that goes up, we had to try and straighten that out to get that little bit of extra.
Yeah.
Really
See,
good
I think
stuff.
that
Really
I
good
think
stuff.
that's dark. I think that's very dark.
But could there be possibly
But she
two
was
things going on
obviously this. I mean, unless this sort of happened as she shot up, but other than that, it would have had to have gone round her neck while her head was still on the pillar.
there? Yeah, it would have been absolute. How would it have been? She'd have to some timing, and she would have known it would have gone over. She would have felt it go over because it would have hurt.
Well, you well, you wouldn't. It's not like playing rings, you know. You wouldn't be able to sort of, you know, sort of get it on there.
Wow.
I don't know. I could never explain it. I could never work it out.
But what's to say there's two things not going on there? Two energies going on there. One tried to harm, one had to save. Because the strangulation was dark. The telly coming off could have, you know, we're talking about a cord on a neck on a metal coat hanger that only had to start being
the telly coming off was still. The telly coming off could have caused injury as well.
Yeah, but it woke
injury.
everybody up to stop the pulling of the. Do you know what I'm saying? It could have been something because the aerial could have come off. You know however it was done, placed over a neck. We're talking about a cord that could have been pulled tight around the metal, and then the telly's come off the wall. Do you know what? You know, it's
it could have been that. Yeah,
good for evil. I don't know.
Yeah,
you would think it would put on her face by force to get it overhead. Great, yeah. So I'm saying there has to be some force involved.
Yeah, it has to be force.
An accidental. Say, as you say, Paul, trying to. It'd only be like hoopla, wouldn't
never
it?
Never get it. No.
Very. I think that's sinister. I do. I can't help it.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
So, my granddad always, because my granddad was a medium, and he always said.
Did you know what it was in that house, Paul?
There's always different. It was like a pass through. He said it was like a portal. It was forever. Right. I mean, honestly, every time someone come around our house, you'd sit in the front room, and how can I say? So the window's there, and the door is there into the hallway, and opposite was a door that went downstairs because it was a masonette, and my bedroom was there, and my mum and dad's bedroom there, and toilet and bathroom, kitchen that side. Well, when you're sitting there, sort of looking towards the telly and the window, you would forever see people walking backwards and forwards in the hallway. Always. And every time you had someone around to visit, I'd be like, who's that? Just see someone walk past constantly. And my granddad I used to watch my granddad, like, you know, you'd sit there and you could see him, he's having a conversation with himself. He's going, yeah. You know, he's talking to someone, I don't know who we were talking to.
Yeah.
But he was always, this house, and it's still like it now.
Oh, it's still like it.
Oh, yeah, not as bad now, but there's still a lot of stuff goes on there. And even when I go around there now, I'm sitting in the front room talking to mum and dad, and I can still see them at the corner of my eye walking backwards and forwards.
Did your granddad have any words to say about Instant, or did he just calm the situation?
My mum, every time something happened, my mum would always phone him up, and one thing he always said is always make a note of the time, write down, you know, the day, the time, the date, the this, the that. You know, he always said that every time something like that happens, it's always a message trying to come through. Someone's trying to let you know something. I mean, I couldn't tell you. My mum would be able to tell you like that, the exact time, date, and everything. She don't forget nothing like that, but I'm useless with my memory, things like that. But I don't. I've never been able to work it out, and it's funny. You kind of, when you're living in it, you kind of get used to it. It's part of the norm. But when I did finally move out, and I remember I had to go round. I'd moved out for a couple of years, and they were on holiday, and I had to go around and get something out of the loft, and I was frightened. I went in the house on my own, and I was fine. I went up, downstairs I was fine, but when I went up in the loft, it reminded me of when I was a kid when I went up in the loft, and I thought there was something in the corner because there was only a little light out there you had to plug in, and I'm searching through my bits. And when you just know, I could feel it. I could just feel something behind me. And I was like, sod it, I ain't even looking for it anymore. I'm getting out of here. It did not feel nice. It just had a horrible feeling. And then it was like it followed me all the way out to the front door. I couldn't get out there quick enough. And this was the house I grew up in. I haven't felt like that since, but yeah. Every now and then something just...
Have you been there on your own since?
I think I have, yeah. I think I've had to pop in a couple of times just to check on the place when they've been on holiday, and I've been all right. And this was way before I started doing the circle. Yeah. Last time, I think I sent it to you, Russ. I videoed. I was in my brother's old bedroom, which then turned into my room. So I sort of like my bedroom, and then I had my games room. So. I can't remember. Something happened, and I got me one of the apps out that I was using, and I videoed it after I started the circle, and I was getting some clear as day answers. I can't. Again, I'm not like my mum. I can't for the life of me remember what I was asking and the answers I got now. But I remember doing it, and I'm pretty sure I sent it over when we was doing the circle. So it's still quite an active place.
I think that was. Either Sandra or Kim, they still in the house, Paul. So I think you've asked that your mum and dad still reside in that house.
Yeah, still there.
So, very interesting. Very interesting.
The next question will be: can we come and investigate?
Yeah.
Watch.
When the next on holiday, we'll pop round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
going the loft for you.
That'd be interesting, to be fair.
It sounds interesting. It sounds how do you want to put it? Say there's your granddad has said portal, so there's a lot of comings and goings, but it seems dark.
But this started like I think it was either me or my brother when we was a baby. When Mum was sitting in the front room. I say baby, we was able to walk and just like toddlers. And she was sitting there watching the telly. And it was either me or my brother come running in the front room, or she thought it was me and my brother come running in the front room. So she's gone, oh, no, you don't, mister. And as she's picked it up, it was a little girl. And as she got to there, it disappeared.
Holy shit.
And, yeah. But this is what I said. I do remember saying this on the show before. My mum, dad, my granddad, and my nan, they used to do a lot of spiritual work together. They used to do a lot of spirit boards. They used to do a lot of trance and things like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if something's... Well, I can't even say they're attached to me parents because...
It's probably you probably hit the word, though. It's probably a portal. Because I think that...
They didn't do it in that house. They done it before they moved into that house.
Ah, that's even stranger then.
But then it doesn't necessarily...
Bang goes my portal theory.
But then...
This was where they used to live. They used to do all that.
What is it? There is a theory, or where you watch some of these Hollywood films, and the energy is attached to the family. Do you know what I mean? It follows the family through. I think you look at there's a TV series called The Exorcist. Not The Exorcist.
No, I think I know the one you mean.
Well, it might be The Exorcist or something along them lines.
Is it a different series every sort of week?
No.
Oh,
It's the same bloke every week.
Yeah.
but it is a drama. It's not based on real life. It's a drama series. It's like a Hollywood, and you know, what is it called? The Exorcist. It is. I'm sure it's called The Exorcist, and the mum is the cause of it all. You know, goes through time, and it comes back and it tries to go to somewhere else, but it can't, and things like that. Not saying your mum's possessed, by the way, Paul. That's not what I'm saying, but it could be something that, you know, say as it's calmed down, it's obviously nothing to worry about, which I would say the difference between the incident with the telly is different to other energies within that house.
Yeah, I'd go along with that.
Yeah.
I was going to say it sounds like a great location for us. I would love to meet your mum. Why don't you get her on the show as a guest? Bet she has camping things to tell.
Yeah, you know, you wouldn't get in a word in edgeways.
Could it be your family is spiritual and has hang around you? That's what, yeah. Amazing, not camping.
Yeah. Amazing things to tell.
Yeah.
Amazing. Not camping, amazing things to tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet she has.
Mm.
I bet she has.
Yeah, she remembers everything.
Does she?
Oh, mate, yeah. It's scary. You know, it was Wednesday. Don't you remember? It was raining. She talked about 25 years ago.
Don't moan about it. She's, you know, she's got all the stories to tell. You might need them stories one day.
Yeah.
You might need them stories one day. Write a book. You're going to write a book.
Well, do you know what? I started writing a book about all of me things that had happened in growing up from what I could remember. But I never finished it. I started writing it. Yeah.
I've started one and I haven't finished it yet, Paul. And I've been promising myself that I would finish it, but
I think I started it about 8 years ago, and I was working on it for about 2 years, on and off, and then I just stopped. Don't know why.
Yeah. It's weird. It is weird.
Yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it? You know, life gets in the way. I don't know how Heidi does it. To be fair, I know Heidi's in the chat. You know, she must have that mind capacity of like, it's got to be done, and I'm going to do it. Like, not like me. Like, yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start. To be fair, wouldn't have a bloody clue. I really wouldn't. I don't know what to talk about.
But you could get a ghostwriter. Pardon the pun.
Well, yeah, that's what I would need. I'd be all right if you had one of them things that you could talk into and dictates to you on the screen. That would be fine. You know, that'd be absolutely. Yeah. You've got a lot of. You need to record your mum's stories.
Yeah, you probably do.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, and you can
I probably remember most of them, but I need that little jog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you remember this? Oh yes, I remember that. Do you remember this? Oh yeah, I remember that.
That is it. That's it. It's that knock-on effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember a ghost story. I'm trying to think of one that I could talk about like that, but I say I've never been strangled. I probably have, but I've never not had anything physically as an object put around my neck. But yeah, I don't think I can follow that. I've got to think. I've got to try and think. And I need someone to jog my memory. Come on, come in. Whoever it is, come in. Let me know. Give me a story. Let me Google one. Let's do it. Famous Essex ghost
It's going to put your bit. Go straight to Baldy Retro.
stories. Nope. Yeah, but Baldy's not in Essex, so is it? Is it? It's on the coast.
Yeah, Baldy is in Essex. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite down the list. So well, you've got Princess Osith, seen the Danish legend says Princess Osith, beheaded by Danish invaders, was seen walking with her head in Nun's Wood and banging on doors of the priory 3 times before collapsing.
Where's that? Where's that? It's Joseph.
Yes, an Osith somewhere. Beeley Abbey.
Yeah.
The headless ghost of Sir John Gate, a former resident and hooded monk, who many have been buried alive in the underground tunnels that have been reported at Beeley Abbey. Got the cage. Holly Trees Museum. The ghost of...
That's Colchester. That's...
Oh, yeah, we never got to do that, did we?
We never got to investigate it.
Yeah. The ghost of Anne Lees is said to wander the gun room, with children reportedly seeing more often than adults. Harwich Fort. The Bear Inn in Stock. The Thorn Hotel in Mistley. St Baltham's Priory. Baldy Rectory. The Witches of Canewdon. Hairy Hands Spirit. What? What is the Hairy Hands Spirit? A legend about a spirit that terrorised motorists on a remote road by grabbing the steering wheel. Well, how do I see that then? Give me that. Is that what goes into...
Grabbing the steering wheel when you're driving? No running then, Paul. What are you going to do then?
Yeah, you know, didn't you? Out the window.
Well, it's stupid because that happens in Dartmoor, apparently. For at least 90 years, the Hairy Hands Spirit has terrorised motorists on the road. Being one of the most remote areas in England, it is no surprise there are stories of paranormal activities taking place here. According to the legend, the Hairy Hands Spirit will grab the steering wheel and steer to cause a collision. Unfortunately, there are many stories of sinister occurrence. The first fatal occurrence of the hands is in 1921, when a man was on a motorcycle with 2 children in the sidecar. The motorist suddenly screamed at the children to jump out as he struggled to gain control of the bike. Unfortunately, this ended in a fatal crash, but the children survived. In the same year, the British Army captain lost control of his motorcycle and was thrown into the verge. When interviewed by local media, he responded, "It was not my fault. Believe it or not, something drove me off the road. A pair of hairy hands close to mine. I felt them plainly as I've ever felt anything in my life. Large, muscular, hairy hands."
Stop that.
So you've got why would that come under Dartmoor? You've got the Bluebell Hill incident. A little bit more. I can elaborate just to give you the backstory. On the 19th of November 1965, a fatal car crash of 3 women. One of Susan Brown was due to be married on the following day. The 24-year-old was returning from her hen night when the Ford Cortina spun out of control on the A229, colliding with a Jag heading the other way. It's common misconception that Miss Brown died on the road, but in fact, one of her friends, Judith Lingham, the other passenger, including Susan, died in hospital a few hours later. Despite Stu's not passing on the road, there have been hundreds of reports of women in white dresses haunting Bluebell Hill, many tales spotting women only for them to disappear, including her running the vehicle and attempted to click on her. So, yeah, there's nothing really to... I suppose I should tell a story, but I can't think of one that would interest anybody.
I think you've got some questions there, Russ.
Have I?
Yeah, I think so.
Bawley is a great place, absolutely. Which hotel in the UK is the most haunted one?
They do say that Mermaid.
The Mermaid Inn,
Yeah, that's in Rye, isn't it?
right? Yeah.
Yeah. But I think there's loads sided. There's a few in York and one that is probably haunted, but
Yeah, got the Golden Fleece, got the Red Lion in Colchester,
yeah.
Purfleet Hotel.
Yeah, room 13 that you can't get in. They won't let you in.
Yeah. So yeah, there is. Which hotel is it? I'll Google it for you. And see, Jamaica Inn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most famous haunted.
There's one I don't know where they used to put the people in the bed and flipped them over or dropped them in the middle of the night. What was that one? Can't remember that. You've got the ones in Wales where we've been.
Skirrid Inn.
Yeah, that's meant to be very haunted.
Oh, the first one that comes up, the most famous haunted hotel in the UK, is often cited as the Schooner Hotel in Almouth, Northumberland.
Mm.
That's what that one is.
Yeah.
You got quick one, Mermaid Inn, which you spoke about, the Georgian House Hotel in London, the Swan Inn in Stafford, Dalhouse Castle, Edinburgh. I've stayed in that. No, I didn't. Oh, I could have when I had the Jamaica Inn in Cornwall, Chillingham Castle, Northumberland,
Joan Mez have been there.
Dean Court Hotel in York, Ellington Park Hotel in Warwickshire, the Ancient Ram Inn in Gloucestershire,
Yeah.
and Dobbins Inn in Northern Ireland. I don't know what Dobbins is, but yeah, there's quite a few. There is seems I can't get back now. How do I get back? So yeah, there's quite a few. There's that really little one as well, the Jerusalem Inn as well.
Yes. Nottingham?
Somewhere near there, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Are they all still active hotels now, though? Because isn't some of them they've kind of shut, apart from paranormal?
All the ones I've just called out looked like hotels.
They're still active hotels.
Yeah. Yeah, the only one that looked shut was the Gloucester one. It's not Skirrid.
Ancient Ram Inn, is it?
Ancient Ram Inn.
Yeah, that one's. I know that's sort of hired out, isn't it? For the
yeah.
Well, that one we stayed in was good. That Millhouse Hotel.
Yeah. And the other one near the seafront,
Cobham
Lodge. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, anything with a bit of history idea is pretty much haunted over it. So it's good.
The Tower of London, many ghost stories there.
I wish we could get in to do the Tower of London, but I have walked around it in the day and picked up there.
So that would be, I'd love to walk around that one. I haven't managed to get around that actually. I'll never forget the first time I visited Bawley when I was 16.
Right.
Yeah, and it was the most erratic place with a
Eeriest.
churchyard. Eeriest place with the churchyard, and the bushes all cut into shapes like something out of Edward.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I think if you do Bawley Church, I think you just go back. God knows how many times. I've done it.
It's got a draw, isn't it? It's got a draw to it. It's definitely got a draw to it. The cage is now owned by Amy's Crypt.
Yeah, she's quite good. I quite like her actually. She's not one of these glory hunters. She seems pretty level-headed and does pretty good investigations, especially with the Aussie blokes she works with, or married to, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know. Can't answer that one, unfortunately. You watch more of them programs than what I do, so I'll let you. Think it's called Riddle Hotel.
Or something like that. The old world. What's the old world's end near?
Oh yeah, I know that. I know that place. That's down where you come off of the A127 at Brentwood, where you go to Whalley.
Yes. Yes.
Side.
Yes, another one. Yeah.
Don't know what that's called though. It used to be called the Old World's Inn, so I knew that one. Many great places. Thanks, guys. Amy and Jared.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Quite good. Quite good. Quite enjoy it.
That's good. That's good. Well, my phone hasn't stopped, so I'm going to throw that over there because it's distracting me. Yes, Russ. So I must be in the right place. I know. I've driven past it. I'm sure that's the day we picked up Barry Guy from his hotel.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. That is it. Yeah.
And took him over to Cash as well.
Yes, that's the one.
I want to do a quick ghost story of something that's happened. Something that's frightened me. Let me think. I can only talk about Cash's Well, I suppose. Cash's Well, we've been chased out of Cash's Well once.
Yeah.
We walked
in. That was quite a night, that was, wasn't it?
With the red eyes.
Yeah, I didn't like the red eyes, yeah.
Cash's Well is a weird place. Cash's Well is a very strange location. Can't really work it out. Can't really give you an answer to it because it has its good, it has its bad. For the first time in a long time, it's had its bluebells around the well. The other week, yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
Snowdrops and all that were out. So I'm assuming something has lifted from that area. But I could just talk about the first time that we went in there. I don't think Paul was with us at that time.
No.
It was our very, very first event. I don't know if Sandra was even with us at that time. I don't know if she was a guest at that time. I don't know if that was the time. But we put the event online. We only took 10 guests.
Yeah.
We advertised it to 2:00 in the morning. Let's just say I was back at the car at 12:30, I think it was, because everyone got so frightened in there that we all had to leave.
Yeah, but that particular time, there was some massive bangs and noises.
Well, it was the light, wasn't it? It was the light. The gentleman, one of the group members, not one of our group members, one of the guests, saw a light walk from the top of the well area to the well, which is probably about 30, 40 foot.
Yeah, max. Yeah.
To the point he made everybody. He made Adam count everybody.
Yeah, he did.
He blamed it on us. He made us all count, and he realised that we was all there. It got darker and darker, and it was, and people was hearing clunks, chains rattling.
Yeah, there was.
And they all said they want to go. They was too frightened, which was quite impressive more than anything. Considering this bloke turned up giving it everything. I've worked with Most Haunted. I've done this and I've done that and I've done this and I've seen this and I've seen that. Done loads of these events before. And we're thinking, oh my God, what are we doing here?
But he was a lovely bloke, actually.
Yeah, it was really nice. He was an ambulance driver, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was an ambulance driver.
Yeah, but he's been to a few. I ain't seen him for a while, but he has been to a few events.
Yeah. I'm sure he'd come to Kelvedon.
Yeah, he
Kelvedon
come to Sandon Mill.
Sanford Mill.
Sanford Mill, yeah.
One in Chelmsford.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sanford Mill.
He come to that.
Cool. You know what? I haven't got much recollection of that place. I know what it looks like.
It was good. And that's where the phone went off. You had the phone go off.
Yeah, I remember the phone going off. But that's what I say. I haven't got too much recollection of that place.
Weird, isn't it? It's really
Paul,
weird.
did you ever join us at Sanford Mill?
No.
Don't do it anymore.
Wow.
Unfortunately, they don't do it anymore, which is a real shame because it was a little gold mine, especially when they opened up the
Old boiler units, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or what it was.
That really, the last time we did it, we had a lot of activity.
They had the old Marconi huts in there, didn't they? The first radio huts and everything, all in like preservation there and everything.
Yeah, they had the two cottages. Did you remember the two cottages? Yeah, they had that there.
Yeah.
It was a cracking place, but perhaps one day they'll open it up again because it was worth it.
Yeah, maybe. But no, it was a very good location. Very, very good location. Well, I think we've come. Sorry, who was going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't remember who I was speaking to. I don't know if I think it was you, Russ, I think, or somebody. We're having a conversation that all the places we do are somehow linked.
Yeah, that was
Spirit. It was, wasn't it? And I thought, well, we're not going to get anybody here where we're going this weekend. And lo and behold, it's the gunpowder plot, Guy Fawkes. And we did have that. We had that at the Enfield Car Museum.
I can't remember.
Do you remember? Oh, yeah, we did. And I thought,
I might not have been in your group.
Huh?
I might not have been in your group.
No, you probably weren't, but
I just remember it was bloody freezing.
I was freezing. That night was freezing, yeah. But so that's the link now, because it's the gunpowder plot or something where we're going Saturday.
I don't know. So it had Guy Fawkes in it.
I don't know if this had Guy Fawkes in it, but it wasn't actually Guy Fawkes at Enfield. It was some other people plotting it, and they'd moved down. Well, they'd obviously moved up from Cambridge, where they're to do it in Enfield. Yeah. And I thought, bloody hell, there's the link. We'll see.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, in a couple of weeks' time, you will find out what we spoke about and go from there. But we have come towards the end of the show. And if we keep rambling, we're only going to try and force out 10 minutes of just wibbling rubbish. So unless you've got any questions, guys, pop them in the chat. We'll try and answer them. But if not, we'll close the show. But I'll leave it for a couple of minutes just to close show. A few of us are off to our investigation of Wisbech Castle on Saturday night. So I don't know if anybody in the chat is joining us on that.
Well, it's done it. Has anybody done it?
Yeah. Which is... It doesn't look anything like a castle, but we know there was a castle and there's tunnels and things like that. But
the thing that gets me is the seance room. So what actually happened in there? Why would you have a seance room with actual seance bells? You know, they get the bell thing where they ring the bell.
Yeah.
Got them in there.
Oh, that'd be good if they go off, wouldn't it?
I could run at that point. That could run at that point.
The tunnels are meant to be the place, but we'll wait and see.
We shall find out. Well, it doesn't look like there's any questions. So, guys, thank you ever so much for watching tonight. Take care. Oh, Wisbech is a great location. Watch out for the bats in the tunnel.
All right, okay, mate.
We had that Langard Fort, though, didn't we? Attacking bats.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Langard full. Right, take care, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody, and see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for everyone that has joined us over on Facebook and YouTube tonight on all our channels. I really appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Thank you for joining. Stay safe and see you soon.
Bye-bye.